This water isn't just dark. It's a crushing chamber. Pressure here would splinter human bones like dry wood. 10 atmospheres pressing on every inch of flesh. Cold so intense your heart would slow, then stop in minutes. And in this absolute void, a sperm whale has sensed movement. At the surface, its heart beats calmly at 60 beats per minute. Now, deep in the abyss, it slows to 10. The whale begins shutting itself down, sacrificing everything non-essential. Oxygen is rerouted to the brain, to the muscles. 40 minutes without a breath. Then, it fires. A sound explodes into the darkness, so powerful it would rupture your eardrums instantly. Rapid-fire clicks tear through the water like underwater gunfire. Each pulse carries more acoustic energy than a jet engine at takeoff. The whale is no longer swimming blindly. It is building a map. A living, three-dimensional image of something massive moving below. And then, the echo comes back. Arms longer than a bus, flesh studded with suckers, each ringed with razor-sharp hooks. The largest invertebrate ever to exist. A giant squid. For most life on Earth, existence happens in the light. Vision defines survival. But sperm whales live in a vertical universe almost no creature ever enters. A world stretching miles beneath the surface, where pressure crushes metal and sunlight has never existed. What makes them extraordinary isn't just their size or power. It's how little we truly know about them. For an animal as large as an airplane, they are nearly invisible. More than 70% of their lives are spent in depths humans cannot reach. Places where even our best submarines survive only minutes. Almost none of it has ever been seen. We study lions and sharks because we can watch them. Sperm whales leave us only clues, echoes, scars, shadows. They are the closest thing Earth has to real sea monsters. Not because they are terrifying, but because they remain unknown. Even their daily lives are a mystery. We don't know how they decide when to dive, how long they truly sleep, or how they navigate oceans the size of continents. Sometimes scientists observe entire groups floating vertically, motionless, like a forest of gray pillars suspended in water, sleeping upright. No one knows why. Then there is their language. Sperm whales communicate through rhythmic sequences of clicks called codas, patterns so complex that some scientists believe they form regional dialects, possibly even the early structure of a true language. Imagine a mind 6 times larger than ours, living in a world we've never seen, speaking in a code we still cannot decipher. Occasionally, the deep allows us a glimpse, and when it does, it changes everything. Divers have encountered sperm whales in moments that feel impossible. You are suspended in open water, weightless, exposed, and then something immense moves toward you through the blue. The clicks begin softer than expected, deliberate, focused. The whale is scanning you from the inside out. Your lungs, your ribs, your heartbeat, constructing a complete image of what you are. Then it simply hovers there, watching. Sometimes it tilts its body to read the echoes better. Sometimes it circles slowly, clicking in patterns that sound almost conversational. And in rare moments, moments that leave people shaking, it responds. These are not coincidences. They are interactions. Here is what unsettles you. These animals possess brains 6 times larger than ours, containing the same neural structures associated with compassion, love, and language in humans. And they've had them for 15 million years longer than we have. They may be speaking one of the most sophisticated languages on Earth. And despite centuries of slaughter, when we enter their world defenseless and curious, they don't flee. They don't attack. They turn toward us. They try to understand. Giants with the power to kill, choosing instead to connect. We hunted them to the edge of extinction, and still, they allowed us close enough to realize we were in the presence of an intelligence we barely comprehend. A mind reaching out across species. For centuries, humans only knew sperm whales from the surface, and everything about them felt wrong. Sailors called them sea devils, leviathans. Some believed they were the Kraken itself, rising from the abyss to drag ships under. When you stand on the deck of a wooden vessel in the open ocean, and a 15-meter head emerges from the fog, exhaling a plume that smells of decay, you don't think mammal. You think nightmare. The sounds didn't help. Ships heard rhythmic knocking beneath their hulls, like something massive hammering from below. Crews thought they were being stalked. Spirits, monsters, ships breaking apart. In reality, it was communication. Then came the scars. When whalers began killing sperm whales in large numbers, they found circular marks covering their bodies, some nearly a foot wide, ringed with smaller cuts, sucker scars, evidence carved into flesh. If whales bore these wounds, what were they fighting? The giant squid wasn't born from myth. It was born from proof. Fear became reality in 1820 when the whaling ship Essex was deliberately rammed by a sperm whale in the Pacific. Twice. The hull collapsed. The ship sank. The crew drifted for months. Some turned to cannibalism. Survivors spoke of a whale that seemed aware, angry, intentional. Those stories reached Herman Melville. 30 years later, he wrote Moby Dick. The white whale wasn't fiction. It was fear given a name. In the 1700s, sperm whales became the most valuable animals on Earth. Not for what they were, but for what they carried. Inside their massive heads lay spermaceti oil. Clear, odorless. It burned clean. It didn't freeze. It lubricated machines and lit cities. It powered the Industrial Revolution. Liquid gold. So the hunt began. Ships crossed entire oceans for years at a time. Crews scanned the horizon for a single blow. When they saw it, small boats launched. Harpoons flew. Whales thrashed. Oceans turned red. Their calls echoed underwater. Panic, distress, warning others. And others learned. Mothers shielded calves. Some whales fought back, smashing boats, dragging men under. But they couldn't outrun progress. They couldn't stop steel and steam. By the mid-1800s, the oceans were crowded with fleets. Populations collapsed. Some regions lost nearly every whale. Reproduction was too slow to recover. By the early 1900s, millions were gone. Entire lineages erased. In 1986, the global whaling moratorium arrived. Too late for many, just in time for some. Sperm whales survived, barely. To understand who they truly are, you have to return to the deep. At 3,000 meters, pressure reaches 300 times sea level. Enough to crush cars. Enough to implode submarines. And yet, sperm whales do this repeatedly, holding their breath for over an hour, returning to the surface as if nothing happened. They should not exist, but they do. Their massive head is not a battering ram. It is a biological sonar cannon. Sound travels through tons of waxy oil, focused into a directional beam. Clicks reach 230 decibels, thousands of times more powerful than a jet engine. Divers have felt them strike the chest like a physical blow. Their lungs collapse safely during descent. Their ribs bend instead of snapping. Their blood binds oxygen more efficiently. Their muscles store it directly. Their flesh is nearly black with myoglobin. Their heart slows to 10 beats per minute. The body enters controlled shutdown. And then there is the brain, the largest on Earth, built for sound, for space, for darkness. This is not adaptation. This is rewriting biology. They don't just click to hunt, they click to speak. Codas, learned patterns, dialects, culture. Calves are taught, not born knowing. This is communication passed down through generations. Some scientists believe there is syntax, structure, meaning. In 2021, AI was deployed to decode their language. Early results suggest staggering complexity, possibly exceeding human language in structure. And their influence doesn't end with intelligence. Sperm whales fertilize the sea. They carry nutrients from the deep to the surface, feeding plankton that produce half the oxygen on Earth. One whale can equal thousands of trees in carbon capture. Even in death, a whale fall feeds ecosystems for centuries. They don't just live in the ocean, they build it. Engineers, teachers, navigators, memory keepers of the deep. And somewhere far below the surface, in total darkness, they are still clicking, mapping a world we've barely begun to understand.